This is GamesAtWork.biz, your weekly podcast about gaming, technology, and play. Your hosts are Michael Martin, Andy Piper, and Michael Rowe. The thoughts and opinions on this podcast are those of the hosts and guests alone and are not the opinions of any organization which they have been, are, or may be affiliated with.
This is episode 532, Spooky, Scary Tech Skeletons. Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Games at Work at GamesAtWork.biz. It's been a little while since we've done this sort of thing.
You disappear for a while and you can't even remember the name of who we are.
Well, no, that's your opinion. I managed to get it out here the first time anyhow. I was just like, wow, there's a .biz or an org or something in there. Who the hell knows? Anyway, I'm glad everyone's here. You can hear Michael Martin, that's me, and Mr. Michael Rowe, that the other voice here.
That's me.
And we are delighted to be with you today. We're missing our colleague Andy Piper. But we've got so many good, fun things and stories to talk about that I'm sure he's going to be a little jealous. But let's dive in because we're gonna talk about Halloween stuff. We're going to talk about animal stuff. We're going to talk about weird tech stuff. We've got some strange game stuff, all kinds of wonderful things. So starting off.
Yes.
And I love the title from the Inside Climate News story on this, using AI to decode whale communications. Now, we've done the Dr. Dolittle thing here once or twice before. We've seen some intriguing things around what your pet dog or cat might be saying to you. We've talked about dolphins. But here, the intriguing subtitle for this is about lawyers that believe that this may create legal rights and be able to recognize whales' legal rights when we can understand what it is that they're saying. Like, I don't know, this is my swim lane or something like that. It's going to be intriguing, don't you think, Michael?
What I found really interesting about the article is, and you're right, we've talked about tools in the past that try to identify speech patterns in animals, and most of them have been, your dog is saying, "I'm hungry, I'm sleepy, take me out for a walk," and that was it, right? But here, it's really identifying the language structure, the alphabet, much more granular level of identification. And I think that gets us to the point where we can start saying, there is intelligence outside of the human race. It may have a lot more than we expected in the past. And the fact that they, to your point on the legal side, that's interesting. I doubt that the whales have many attorneys on their side right now. But the fact that we can recognize an intelligence, a communications, and a structured thought in other creatures, I think will have larger implications on AI too. At what point do we say, and we talked about this, 2 years ago, where the machines were creating their own language?
Right, where they invented their own language,
So when you get to the point where some non-human thing is creating a language and communicating in a way that we're only able to kind of start understanding, does it infer additional rights, or at least infer additional, I'm going to use a pejorative term, human rights to them, right? Because they are now acting in more of what we recognize as being human, i.e. having cognitive thought processes and language.
Yeah, well, it will be intriguing. I mean, we're struggling already with all kinds of human rights as it is right now, and robotic rights, which are going to be emerging too. So giving a real voice, and not giving a voice, it's understanding the voice,
recognizing really. A voice,
of other sentient beings, and what that means is certainly an intriguing thought. And once we have that understanding, then that level of complexity is going to emerge, and we'll have to deal with it, because that's something we need to deal with.
Yeah, but this was a really cool article when I saw it come across, and I was just like, we've got to talk about this.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend clicking on the link over at our show notes at gamesatwork.biz and maybe letting us know what you guys think of that story. I found it fascinating.
So speaking of, things that are intriguing, we've got
And communicating.
There's been a couple of recent articles that are on a similar wavelength or theme as what we've heard before. So I'm willing to bet for long-term listeners, that Michael Rowe has a Pi-hole, and he is very happy to have said device on his network. And for those of you who don't know what a Pi-hole is, Michael, can you give a tiny little summary of that for everyone?
Yeah, at its simplest, it's a local DNS server that routes sites that you do not want to have access on your network to a black hole. It basically takes their DNS address and maps it to nothing.
Yep.
It's the easiest way to think of it.
Yeah. So if you have a device on your network and it's trying to communicate back with its home, you can say, "Oh, no.
Now you can get around it. Let's face it. If you're a very aggressive developer and you want your device to always go back, you can hard code into your device its own DNS server, or you could only use IP addresses, right? And that would get around it.
Good point. So good and creative developers have mechanisms in their cat and mouse game to do the cat and mouse thing. So this Futurism article that caught my attention started reporting on a blog post that detailed a guy who had a smart vacuum. And what he noticed about this smart vacuum is that he didn't like it transmitting information about his home. Right. So he used a construct very much like what Michael described to prevent the vacuum from communicating back with the mothership. And then something strange happened that the vacuum stopped working. So it was under warranty, and he sent it into the factory and they fixed it and sent it back. And shortly thereafter, it would stop working. And then he would send it back and they would fix it, and then it would come back and it would stop working. And so he was like, okay, when they told him now, well, sorry, dude, it's out of warranty. He did what any enterprising entrepreneur and engineer might do, which is let's open this sucker up and see what's going on.
Crack that puppy open.
Yeah. So without reading the entire article for you, what he discovered by getting into the software and seeing what APIs were being called was that the vacuum indeed was sharing a full-on map of his home using APIs from Google and elsewhere. And he was like, hey, this is not cool. And he noticed from the logs that it seemed to be right after he disabled the communication from the vacuum back to the mothership is when it all of a sudden stopped working, because there had been a code injection sent back to said vacuum from the mothership that when he disabled it, miraculously, the vacuum worked again. Ta-da!
Yeah, this is interesting. This actually showed up on one of my security podcasts too this week, and they did a deeper dive on it, and good summary. The thing, so I'm going to try to be not my normal negative self on this. Okay, so one of the reasons why you build a map of the house from the vacuum is to make it more efficient as it moves around the house.
Sure.
Right? So each time it vacuums, it doesn't have to go, oh, there's normally a end table there, or there's normally a bed there, and I'm going to bounce until I recognize it. No, it can say, hey, I know at this point in the map, I can just take a left and keep going. I can understand that. And as a developer, you may say, hey, I've got an account with my vacuum, so maybe I should capture that data in a database. So if they upgrade the vacuum to a new one, log into their account, it knows the map, and it can vacuum. Let's assume that's why they were doing it, okay?
Right.
Now, they could be doing it for other reasons. I won't go down that path, but let's assume that's why they were doing it. Fine. You, as the owner of that, well, are you the owner? Did you license that vacuum? Are you only renting a service to vacuum? We won't go into that part either. But you, as the owner, may say, I'm okay with it bouncing into the furniture periodically. Don't send it back, right? So if we assume all that, everything else is fine. Don't have it call back. The bad part, and you call this out, is when it no longer could get the data that it wanted, the service itself sent a kill switch.
Yep.
And that's where the problem is. And we've seen that. Let's face it. App stores can do that, right? An app store may want to take down an app. They have kill switches. Amazon, God, how many years ago was it when they deleted 1984 off of all the Kindles, right?
Yep.
And that's because people aren't buying things; they are licensing things.
Yep.
And if you ever read your licenses, they tend to say at the licensor's discretion, they can disable the license at any point in time. So
true. And you gave two lovely software examples, right? And we can talk about media as well, which I know you avoid by actually getting CDs or, other media that you can own.
Vinyl.
Right.
Yeah. And let's face it, I mean, they had the same problem with some of the cars over the last few years where the cars company have gone out of business, right? And the cars are no longer working because they can't call home to the mothership.
Right. So there are ways around all this. And part of the ways around all this is local storage of data, right?
Yep.
You don't have to store the map of your home in a cloud environment, which is inherently has security vulnerabilities that have to be addressed. It could have been stored locally on said device.
Monday when the cloud went down because somebody screwed up a DNS entry?
Whoopsie daisy. Oh, yeah. So we didn't put this in the list here too, but like the bed, right? There is an internet connected bed, which is a physical device. It's supposed to be something you sleep on. Now, are there features of the bed that require an internet connection in order to activate and do something with? I would debate that. I would say that could have been done locally.
But there were.
So
they did release a software patch almost immediately saying, hey, you can crank it down yourself manually now.
Yeah, but going back to the car example, I mean, this is another situation too. Like the power roof of my 1999 convertible, that power roof button or the wire or the motor or some combination of them doesn't work anymore. Now,
oh no,
disabling that was a relatively simple thing. So now I use muscle power to raise and lower the roof. And guess what? The car still works. And if there's a raindrop falling on my head, I can put the roof up, right?
The roof.
Yeah. So if that were an internet enabled roof, now all of a sudden I have
SOL.
A problem with my vehicle. So this is happening more and more and more. And the bill of materials or the nutrition label kind of thing doesn't necessarily showcase for you what it is that you're buying as a service and what is it that you're buying as a product, and how are you going to be able to cope with the situation that, yes, there's electronics, yes, there's code, yes, there's databases, yes, there's a whole bunch of things, but if the company that produces it is acquired, goes out of business, changes their business model, the purchase that you made all of a sudden is a paperweight. And
if only we had, national and global rights as purchasers of things, maybe just at the simplest level, let's say at a privacy level, instead of everything being monetized. And we talked about this, 2010, I was actually working with the automotive industry, and the whole your car is a data center on wheels discussion was big, and how you were going to be able to monetize vehicles because it's all going to be software driven. Well, this is what happens. Anyway, let's go to the next story, because that was fun.
Yeah, it was. And maybe the whales and their attorneys will help us get to that nirvana. Yeah. So the next one is about a television that you can have for free, right?
Ooh,
a free television. Who doesn't want a free TV, right? So the only catch
is this a television with, what's that thing called, an aerial or an antenna, and you only pick up free television channels that are broadcast through the air?
No, it's not. And
no.
and speaking directly, the television channels that I get through my friends over at YouTube TV, unfortunately today, because Disney and Google are not happy with one another, they are turning off a show that I would like to watch this evening. How about that? So
yeah, I saw that. We were watching Jeopardy the other night, and there was this little red banner at the top of the screen about, fights with YouTube TV. You are going to lose access to this. And I'm like, well, I don't pay for a streaming service when I can get it through another service.
Yeah, well, Disney's done a good job doing what they do. So here is a TV that is ad supported. So this isn't where YouTube,
you mean like in between shows or at breaks in the shows there's ads?
No, it's even better. There's a secondary screen that is attached to the first screen, and that will continuously show ads. That is probably watching what show you're watching.
Is this what they meant by a second screen experience?
No.
Remember that 20 years ago we were going to have a second screen experience. You're going to watch the game and you're going to have a phone app that kind of kept you engaged with the game? No, it's a screen that's purely just pumping ads in your face. And you're absolutely right. It is watching what you're watching, and they're on all the time.
Well, they have to be on all the time, and there's a license for that, because if you turn it off or hide it or somehow obscure it, you're violating the terms and conditions, which will trigger a clawback clause.
So you definitely don't want this TV in your bedroom, because the TV goes off and it's still running ads all night long. It's like a Lionel Richie song.
I thought you could turn off the second screen when you turned off the primary screen, but anyway.
Are you sure?
There's a
maybe
question
you can now.
There's a question of how many
have you read
sensors.
The terms of service, and can they be changed?
I never went that far, because this is not something that I desire. And I've done a lot of reading recently about other smart TVs and how to disable the advanced ad experiences from them, which sound very innocuous. But if you really need to read the terms and conditions for those,
you mean you want to disable the customization features, which is usually where they're under. They're customized experiences. Basically, give us all your data so that we can advertise to you.
Yeah. So the next article is in the same vein, which is a fridge.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a fridge with a large screen on it, which shows some really kind of cool stuff, like, mom or the dad putting a sticky up there saying, "Hey kids, soccer tonight at 6:30, be ready." Right?
I just want to set this in context. This is a fridge that costs the same amount as a Vision Pro.
Yeah, but
$34.99.
You can't put a ham sandwich in your Vision Pro and then take it out later to eat it.
But the fridge's screen is smaller.
Well, it depends on how close you are to it. It could be about the same size. So it's a fridge. It's not cheap. It's not free. But could there be an ad-supported fridge? Hey guys, take a look at the TV. Take that idea, bring it to your fridge. Maybe so.
What I heard about this one, and I haven't had a chance to go deep into this article from Ars Technica, though, was that this is a feature that not only is on this fridge, but they're adding to existing fridges in people's homes who already have the smart TV, smart fridge with the TV built into this thing. Can you imagine spending $3,500 on a fridge and suddenly it starts showing you ads?
Well, with a fridge, you don't have to look at them. However, if you didn't agree to it and that wasn't part of the license, do you have a chair in your kitchen where you just sit and look at the fridge?
I do go into my kitchen and I do things, and if there's a giant screen blinking at me with stuff, you might have your eyes wander that way.
Yeah, it could be. And again, for long-term listeners of the show, you've seen plenty of examples of this in the augmented reality space, in the automotive space, where your screen, which is your windshield, has all kinds of ads pointing you to, hey, it looks like you might need a coffee. Turn over here and you get a 50-cent coupon to go get a coffee.
We actually talked years ago about our friend Rue Reynolds' website on internet-connected fridges, whose name we cannot say on this show. But we'll put a link to it in the show notes.
or maybe we won't, because that is something...
You can rename the link so it doesn't show you the name of the URL.
Yeah, well...
Because it's in the URL name.
Anywho, fridge advertising there's a lot of stuff in a lot of
Unbelievable.
places, and the changing nature of your engagement with devices in your home and in your world as you operate continues to evolve. And you can imagine a day too where the fridge might have a situation where it says, well, watch this short video and then I'll allow you to open the fridge. You know, there's a value added service. Oh, watch this short video and then I will send an Instacart order because I noticed that you're missing some things, and this way they'll be populated right away. So not giving you guys ideas. I'm sure you're thinking about it already.
They've already got those ideas. I guess the question is, how would those things be delivered? Could they be delivered by a robot?
Yeah, well, that would be an intriguing thing here, too. So the next article up is from Six Colors. We love this website from Jason Snell. He's got all kinds of cool, fun stuff. And there's a short video, but Michael, you said that the video is not the intriguing thing. It is about robots doing delivery, right? So maybe that's how your ham sandwich gets to you, this little cute robot, driving down the sidewalk and brings it to you.
What's really interesting about this article to me, as even near-term listeners will know, I have a Vision Pro, and this video actually was brought up by the people over at Sandwich Software, and I've purchased a couple other apps, and they're really kind of neat little apps. And what they do is they are one of the many companies that's been trying to figure out how to do immersive video. And last week before, Apple did an event on their developer campus, inviting developers and creators there who are working in immersive video. And one of the big, I don't even want to say big complaints, but one of the complaints you hear about people on the Vision Pro is there's not enough immersive content.
Right. Yeah.
And what that event actually showed, and Jason Snell was there at the event. He goes, what he hadn't realized was how much of all the immersive content being created right now is being created with betas of betas, right? Nothing was generally available content. Whether we talk about the cameras, Blackmagic finally has theirs out, but they're extremely limited. The development pipeline for the video editing, right? Even Apple just recently started enabling capabilities for some of the immersive video editing.
In Final Cut or where?
In Final Cut.
Okay.
But it's not fully... Every single video that was created was basically a bespoke experience. And so this event really kind of showcased to people how hard it still is. And the creators who were there are like, we're really, really excited and interested to be here. And yeah, it's not just about creating for the Vision Pro. It's about creating immersive content for any of the platforms. So Apple, with what they've been doing, and we saw this last week with the announcement of Samsung's $1,700 headset, which basically looks like a Vision Pro knockoff.
Is it a knockoff if it's that much cheaper and does the same thing?
It doesn't do the same thing, and yes, it is a knockoff because, they don't even have the same capability, as I understand it, of the Samsung displays that are in the Vision Pro, right? Because everything is still a bespoke experience, right? It's the Vision Pro is a developer tool, right? It's not a mass market tool. We've gone through this 100 times. Don't need to go any further on that part. But what's interesting is you're starting to see more and more development pipelines being built for immersive content. And it doesn't matter what the end headset looks like. I'm not talking glasses. That's AR. I'm talking immersive VR. The development pipelines are not fully there. So therefore, the apps aren't there. So therefore, people aren't buying the hardware. Right? It's how do you break this cycle? And I think what they've done with this event and with just over the last 2 years of all the things that Apple has pushed forward, that Meta has pushed forward with the Quest versions, etc. I think we're just about at the Palm Trio.
Oh.
When it came to mobile phones, right?
Wow.
And it's going to be really, really cool. And this is really exciting to me. Now, to the video, what they've done is they were doing a video shoot and they realized they had the hardware to do immersive at the same time. So They
did
took
both.
and did both, and then there's a YouTube video attached to the article where they overlay the immersive world and put the video that the ad video that they shot in it. So you can kind of see two slight different angles because they didn't have the cameras in the exact same place and they didn't reshoot everything. But you can kind of see the rest of the world that was happening. So you can kind of see how much more there is when you think about immersive video. And one of the other really interesting things, and then we'll wrap this up, was the amount of bandwidth for an immersive video compared to even like a really high res 4K video.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I know it can go to 8K per eye. Per eye.
So that's 16K.
That's 16K worth of data versus 4K on a regular video feed. So you have that, plus you have the fact that it's not a fixed location, so there's this wrap of additional data around the person, plus all the positional data. So you're talking about orders of magnitude potentially of more data that has to be pushed to the device for a truly immersive experience and handle throughout the entire pipeline of creating that content. So Apple announced that there's going to be a basketball game with LA Lakers or someone like that. I mean, it's pro, I don't care. That's going to be fully immersive sometime in the next year. And getting a pipeline to work at that is going to be incredible, which will just open up more and more possibilities in this space.
Yep, and we've talked about that plenty of times too, because to me, that isn't a killer app, but it's starting now to approach what would make the experience more compelling beyond, that cycle that you described, where we've got development tools and capabilities, and we've got some apps, but not much and not much content. Yeah. Interesting too that this was a robot ad, and so reference the last couple a little bit too. So it's like
exactly,
it's a recursive show today on a lot of areas. All right, so we've been talking about spooky, scary stuff, and there's an intriguing 9 to 5 Mac article. Again, not an Apple podcast, but we did come across this concept of family sharing that looked a little spooky. Actually,
yeah. This I looked at this article and I said, this is where the MVP fails, right? So much of modern technology is let's get out an MVP and iterate, right? Well, family sharing took a long time to happen, and what this is for people who are not in the Apple ecosystem, I'm sure others have something similar in Android, etc., is I can set up an account and have child accounts that get access to my iCloud or the apps that I do, etc. And you can have it so that people can see where each other are. So, if your kids are out and you want to make sure they get home on time or that they're safe, all of those types of features are enabled. Well, there's an edge case, which is probably not that big of not that of a rare edge case in modern society, and that is what happens when the parents of a family sharing unit get divorced. And this article, highly recommend you read it, talks about all the things that were missed and not thought about, because ultimately in family sharing, there's one person at the top of the tree of data. And even if legally things are split and people go one way and other people go other way, Apple hadn't considered that in how you break up a family sharing unit. Very scary.
And there's other aspects of this too that I'm sure weren't considered in the MVP cycle too, which is when there's a child and that child becomes an adult and that adult starts their own family, now what?
I think that one actually has been. You can remove them from the share.
Yeah.
You can remove them from the family. They can set up their own family. But of course, they will lose all the apps that were purchased under that family sharing.
There's that.
All their media. Again, because you don't own the media, you're only licensing it.
Yeah, and there's the what is the family and who is the administrator of the family. So there could be a desire to do that, but that has to be done by the administrator. So, have a look. Fun stuff. Daring Fireball. This is great because I've been doing some traveling here recently, and I take
This is
full
why I
advantage.
had it in the show.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you this question.
Yeah, I typically
Every time I travel, I
Yeah.
make sure the car that I get has CarPlay in it.
Yeah.
Do you?
I rent typically from Hertz, and I like them because I've been with them for a really long time for reasons, and I have now the ability to kind of walk the aisle and go find a car that does have CarPlay
Same.
in it. So that's typically what I do, and it makes life a whole lot easier, better. I don't have to take a mount with me and just put my phone up on the windshield. So the fact that GM, that's what this article's about, has been making noises about removing CarPlay as part of their default in the manufacturing process and articulating that, hey, we believe because we can own the entire driver experience that we can do something better than Android or Apple for maps and a variety of other things. That may well be true. Speaking of somebody who's had manufacturer-related maps and navigation in the environment, that means that the manufacturer has to keep that up to date and up to speed, and they're going to have to license that stuff anyway. So, friends, just let me mirror my phone and give me that ability, right?
Yeah, so the basic article here is the impact on fleet vehicles, right?
Yeah.
And it's, to me, it's not just CarPlay, it's Android Auto too, right? So we're running close on time, but
yeah. Is there anything you want to touch on before we close?
I just wanted to, we talked about the Vision Pro.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Windows 11 is enabling a remote desktop feature with the Quest 3. I think that to me right now is the killer app in the Vision Pro for me. And if I were a Quest person and I was running Windows 11 as my primary machine, I would turn that on in a heartbeat.
Cool. So maybe my closing thought here is while I was away on vacation, I spent a lot of time reading. One of the many books I got my way through was The Simulation Hypothesis from Rizwan Virk. I was able to pick that up, luckily, at the Harvard bookstore because I was running out of books and I only brought like 4 and I needed more. And this book postulates, the second edition, it was just updated this year, that we are all living in a simulation. And Michael, just to tickle you a little bit, one of the Lego kits that I most recently got is this really cool Space Invaders kind of Lego space cabinet.
Arcade machine.
And the arcade machine is inside. There's a person who can kind of live in there. So if we are indeed living in a simulation and we are operating in a game, this would be great proof of it, because I have an arcade machine Lego that when you open it up is inside something that somebody's living inside. So good, fun stuff. All right, well, friends, thank you for bearing with us. We've had a between travel and a variety of other things, it's been a little bit of a hectic time, but that's what goes on. We also have some time away for the holidays that will be coming up here soon too. But we want to hear from you, so drop us a line, share a link, tell us what you think, and if there's something spooky that you encounter on Halloween, we'd love to hear about that too. All right, so with that, we'll say see ya, everybody.
You've been listening to GamesAtWork.biz, the podcast about gaming, technology, and play. We are part of the Blueberry Podcasting Network, and would like to thank the band Random Encounters for their song, Big Blue. You can follow us at our website at GamesAtWork.biz.